But what happens now, West Bend's gonna do it, Hartford's gonna do it, Slinger's gonna do it. So probably the percentage is gonna, you always ask for this much here, and the county will come back and say, well, West Bend, we're only gonna give you 50%, because we gotta give Hartford 4%, and is that probably in the equation, right?
Actually, the 25% ask is for all municipalities.
Okay, so then it would be
all
prorated?
towns, cities, and villages there's a formula that we put together based on equalized valuation of the town, of the city, or of the village, and population, and just put a simple 50% weighting on both of those, and then it spits up at the end the calculation of the number that is to be shared back of that 25% for each municipality.
So of that 25%, West Bend might get, say, 10, and that comes up to 600,000.
Right.
Now, is that good, if this would go through, would that be strictly for road maintenance?
Yeah, the example that's in place, and the only example in the state right now of revenue sharing back with the 0.5% sales tax is Sheboygan County. And they actually sign a contract with each municipality. County in Sheboygan signs a contract if the municipality desires to request that road funding on an annual basis. They say what they're going to use the money for. It's got to be over and above what they currently spend on roads, and then the county enters into agreement and shares a portion of the revenue, sales tax revenue with them. It's that kind of a model that we're proposing here in Washington County as well.
Because originally that 0.5% that we pay at the county level, that was for, well, the courthouse remodel and the Samaritan home, but now they got their infrastructure done stuff, and now they're using it for the budget items, which really wasn't meant to be that way, but that's the same way it would be. I would go, my thought would be to the wheel tax, no matter how much it is, because there's people on the same side that don't drive, but they have property. They would be paying property tax in an increase. The property tax doesn't, and the wheel tax, would be for road. It would be, that's where that would funnel into. Property tax, that's not saying that it's gonna go for road improvement, because, things happen, and we gotta do this, and we gotta do that, and then the roads are still the same way they were.
Right, I think that's the big benefit of the top two listed there. The revenue sharing with the county can be earmarked and literally entered into contract with municipality that says it has to be for roads. So staff, council, mayor couldn't change that bait and switch with the funds, for example. And same thing with the wheel tax. The wheel tax is dedicated money to roads. Property tax, exactly like you said, it might be the best intention of staff and council and the mayor at this time, but then a new council is elected, and Rich shared that at the beginning, that he wouldn't be able to bind a future council what to do with those property tax dollars.
What, I don't know, you probably don't have this answer, but out of that $20 goes to the state, what's the state charge of getting that $20 back?
That's very little.
Very little?
Yeah, it's a tiny percent. I don't know that.
I don't know what the number is, but it was pretty small.
They do the same with the 0.5% sales tax for the
right.
county. They take a tiny percent out before they submit it back. And then there's a question that the committee's considering regarding status quo. Are the roads okay? Because council, quite honestly, here's comments that way as well, that our roads are fine, and we're doing the best we can with the monies that we have. Let's just continue down that path and not try to infuse an additional amount of money at this time into fixing Access 3 roads or any of the other.
Well, some people just don't understand, if you don't fix it, it's no different than your property. If you don't fix it, sooner or later, it's gonna be a big price. The school system went through that, how many years that they didn't the superintendent was making himself look good and the administrator, but after they were gone, every boiler had to be changed, every roof had to be changed, and all that kind of stuff, I work construction, I know what infrastructure costs, but it's gotta be done. I worked in schools in Milwaukee where, I forget, the guy told me how many schools they had. But we were working on the one school, and he said, we'll be back around there replacing the boilers in that school. When we're all done with the cycle, we'll be back here doing it again. but it was like 160, 70 schools, something like that they had, you know. But that's what has to happen, no different than the roads. The trucks are getting heavier, and just, once you got a hole, it's gonna be a bigger hole, and the Main Street up here got a hole. That dip right in front of, well, it's right across from Panera. Was the water main break? No, root is getting worse. I went past there last night. Holy man, this thing's getting worse.
There is a bit of the pay me now or pay me more later. Pay me now, right? I mean, Max will attest to that, and the council's gotta struggle with that as well.
Yeah. Well, I know, and what year did they do Main Street here? That's gotta be, what, 25 years ago?
I don't remember, that might have been before I was here.
Yeah, it was before you were here, but I knew the gentleman that was, Cape Construction did, I think they did it right after 45. And, the system that they used, I said, you know, cause it doesn't have no rebar in or whatever they used to use, he said, well, as long as we pour 10 inches, and this was what the state code, 10 inches, and just put chairs in at every expansion joint, then you don't have to have the rebar. But it's designed to be ground off every 8 years. Well, this has never been ground off, and I've got a truck with a tandem trailer, and you cannot go down Main Street more than 15 miles an hour, or it starts jumping like this. I'm sure that you guys with snowplows and stuff, you know, but that's the way it was designed, no different than 45. You know, they're talking about redoing 45, but the state didn't do it either. Because of every time that crack, the expansion joint, then it goes like this here, but it was designed, engineered, that every 8 years that it would be ground off and smoothed off again. That's what he told me. He was the foreman of the road project at that time.
Okay. I'll have to look into that because I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
I've been here 17 years and, you're right, I haven't seen it being ground off and basically ground and resurfaced. I'm sure. So that's something I will have to look into then.
And out here, it isn't bad, but it's a different, you know, the city, as you know, from Board of Public Works, the city has all different kinds of soil. When you get up there, remember when they redid Pick and Save parking lot there, it was nothing but, that whole area is nothing but mush. You know, and they even, in the parking lot, they put in some kind of outfit out of Illinois came up and they mixed in, guy told me they mixed in some kind of lime or whatever to make the ground more stable so it wouldn't be mush. You know, and that's the same thing you got up on top of the hill up there, you know, and that's probably why the road is the way it is, because of the infrastructure underneath.
Yes, that's for when we redid Ada Lane. We did some soils investigation and we ended up building up, I want to say 14 inches of breaker run throughout the whole road because of that condition. With the subsoil not being adequate to support the road in the end. So sometimes you have to increase the reinforcement in the foundation and in order for the road to last.
Yeah. If you don't do it, it's not gonna last.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you spend more money, but at least you have a product that's gonna last longer.
So Rich, with this advisory referendum, you're gonna have your selections. Is there gonna be a selection do nothing?
Right now, each one of the questions is going to have a description that we currently spend $1 million plus 4%. The thought process is if we get no to each one of the other answers, then that'll be our do nothing, stay the course.
You had talked about getting complaints, and that's why you've come to this. You had a survey before and now these meetings and the advisory referendum. Is this turnout, I know this is only your second meeting, is this turnout an indication one way or the other, and would you still move ahead with the advisory referendum just to collect data? Or is the turnout going to affect your decision on whether you put the referendum on or not?
I don't believe it'll affect whether we do the advisory referendum or not. The turnout itself, while disappointing, I think we still want to get a good picture of what people are thinking within the community. And I think that advisory referendum is gonna be our only way of really gauging that interest. You know, I had hoped that we'd get some larger turnouts at these meetings, and it might have helped us scope some of the questions. We still have one more, December 18th, and maybe that will garner some more participation. But right now, my thought process is to continue down the advisory referendum. It's not binding in any way. It's just, you know, when you're hearing comments that, you know, that the council or the city's not listening to us on the roads, we take that personally. We want to make sure that we're doing our jobs and fixing it. So let's get the answer from, you know, the voters and see